Regular session, Finance Committee meeting. Today is Tuesday, December the 13th, 2022. Time is 2:00 p.m. Commissioners, any adjustments to the agenda? Any changes?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the agenda, but we want to pull item 15 at staff request.
Okay.
You want me to read that?
Well, so there's no changes to the regular agenda?
No, the regular.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion on this, the consent agenda.
All right, Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the consent agenda from December 13th, 2022.
I'll second.
Except we're going to pull item 15.
Okay?
That's on general business, no?
Yes,
I
sir.
guess it's all consent.
No.
No, it's on general business.
All right.
So the consent agenda is to approve. We have a
Okay,
second.
all right, so I'm clear. The motion is to approve the consent agenda as presented,
Right.
and it's been seconded.
Yes.
All in favor, raise your right hand.
Okay.
All right? Now, what were we talking about? Item 15?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to
So the staff wants that.
Staff wants to pull item 15. Item 15 is recommend the Board of Commissioners accept and authorize the agreement for services with a wayfinding signage project with National Sign Plaza Incorporated as a sole source vendor with funding in the amount of $284,000 from Community Development Department's FY 2023 budget, subject to county attorney's approval.
We're requesting to defer this item. The county attorney's office has deemed this a public works project, and because it's a public works project that's over a certain amount, I believe it's $100,000, we have to go out to bid for this. We cannot use the sole source option. So we're going to pull it and put the bid out. And we'll
Okay,
bring
so
it back.
we need a motion to defer when we get there.
I'd recommend that your motion just be to pull it from the agenda.
Completely.
Defer implies that this same item in the way it is packaged now is going to come to you later, but I think you just need to pull it from the
Okay,
agenda.
so can we just go ahead and do that now?
I think if you wouldn't just, have a vote just to remove that item from the agenda, I think that'd be appropriate.
I made that motion. Just need to say.
You made the motion to pull item 15 from the
Yes.
agenda, and I'll second it. And we'll just-
Okay, and that's in order, Will?
Yes, sir, I think so.
Okay, all in favor of pulling item 15, raise your right hand. Okay. Other items on general business is item 12. Recommend that the Board of Commissioners approve the purchase of performance PRO and TLC bundle software subscription from HR Performance Solutions for $33,860 with funding provided by the ARPA funds. Ms. Bright.
Hi, good afternoon, Commissioners. Currently here at Glynn County, we are manually doing performance evaluation, and this involves printing out spreadsheets and then going over the evaluation on paper with the employee so that the employee can sign off on the paper. And a lot of times it's too small for them to read, or you're shuffling papers, and it also creates a lot of man hours for HR and for the supervisors, because then HR has to read through every one of these evaluations and take the ratings and put them into the system or scan them in or whatever they do. So we want to automate and improve the process here at the county, and staff has evaluated several performance systems, and we selected Performance Pro because of the user-friendly interface that will fit our process. And other advantages of it was that it would let you write your own factors or use templates that are provided. It also let us customize the workflow, and it will remind people if they have a late evaluation or an overdue evaluation, and it'll just make the process more efficient. Also, it includes a Learning Center module that has over 500 classes, and that will let our employees have like employee development. I looked at some of the cybersecurity classes, and they look really good. and we can keep track of these classes that the employees take. HR and IT are requesting for y'all to approve this Performance Pro with the TLC bundle from HR Performance Solution for $33,860 with funding provided by the ARPA funds.
And we don't have this already?
No,
With
sir.
having 1,000 employees?
800 and something employees, we do not.
Well, now we have 800, but in the past we
Yes,
had
yes.
1,000 or so. And with each one having to have an evaluation done,
It
and
has.
we were doing it manually.
Well, we would print it, we would fill it out on a spreadsheet, then we'd print it out on the paper because the employees had to manually sign off on it. So it was pretty much a manual process, yes.
Oh, man, and with the departments, I don't know if that
Yes.
created the right temperament for the supervisors to do that.
It was
So,
a-
yes.
Yes, it was a chore. And
Commissioners, any questions other than my comment? What does TLC stand for?
The
I mean,
Learning
I know what I
Center.
think it stands for.
It's the Learning Center module, is what they call their Learning Center. It's got the 500 classes in it.
Okay, I got you.
I also want to note on this, I was involved in all of the reviews of the different ones we looked at, and this was by far the least cost. Most of them were 70 to 80,000 a year, so this was a great cost. This was also the one that Scott Johnson uses in Columbia County and said that it's great, user-friendly, and he
Okay.
highly recommended it, so.
Okay.
And if I could add to, just what we have now is not effective. We need something that's streamlined, as you mentioned. We need a modern method that really will allow us to do better evaluations. And I think
I'm
that this was
almost
good.
embarrassed that we were talking about this. Maybe we should have done this in executive session, but, I mean, I can
Chairman.
imagine go ahead.
I recommend the Board of Commissioners approve the purchase of the Performance PRO and the TLC bundle software subscription from HR Performance Solutions for $33,860 with funding provided by the ARPA funds.
Second.
Item 12 has been motioned and properly second to be approved as presented. All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, money well
Appreciate
spent.
it. Thank you.
Item 13, recommend the Board of Commissioners approve the allocation in the amount of $34,008.36 for the addition of automated watering devices for the kennels and to add stainless steel to the walls of the 2 intake kennels, with funding to be provided by the Capital Projects Fund, Capital Allocation at Large Post 2. Hey,
Good afternoon, all. I'm Dave Carver, Facilities Manager, and for Dave Austin.
all right.
He's out sick. This is for the new animal control facility. The kennel, the 2 dog kennels do not have automatic watering devices, and they'd like to add those in there, so we did get 3 prices. And the low bid was Snyder at $12,700. The 2 intake kennels, if you're familiar with the main building, we're going to line those with stainless steel because the dogs are tearing into the walls. The kennels that were designed for that and bought and installed do not have a rear panel or a side panel. So the rear panel and the side panel are the actual walls, which have FRP on them and sheetrock behind them, and they're tearing into them.
And they chewed through it.
They chew through it.
There was so much discussion around this project that those kind of things were not discussed. I mean, I know you may not know, Dave.
I don't know. I was kind of wondering why it wasn't out of block in the first place, at least part of the building for that option where the dogs are
Right,
kept.
that would have made sense.
But I don't know during the design process if that was changed or not many years ago. Now, it did come through my office, and I permitted it through building inspections, but it was that was a finished plan, so.
Yeah.
They also want to be able to wash down the walls. There is a drain and a spigot in the room as well, so this will help waterproof to an extent.
Okay, I just hope we have a lot of projects on the board, and
We do.
and maybe we need to just say, okay, common sense says we should do these things or include these things now. Or and if there's some issues with it, then that's when we need to know about it. Because
Yes, sir.
I'm sure we would have approved for this to be different than us. You all having to come back to us.
Yes, sir.
Now, commissioners, any
Just a FYI kind of question here is, if the kennels that they're kept in don't have a side and a rear panel, could we not buy the panels and add those to the kennels and not have to spend the other 20?
Yes, sir, but some of the panels, even in the dog kennel, the long dog kennels, they're chewing through. And we're gonna have to address that issue down the line as well.
I've been out there and seen it. I couldn't believe it. They ate the FRP panel off the wall, and then they're digging in the sheetrock. It should have been blocked, but that was prior to some of us being here,
Yeah,
so.
so we're gonna fix it now. This will work. It's a little pricey, but we priced tile at first, and that was in the $40,000 range, which tile, the dogs are gonna get their claws into the grout lines and pull it off anyway. So this will be more of a, won't be seamless, but it'll be close.
So Jason, you're listening, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Because this is the kind of stuff that the public is saying, you know, it just doesn't make any sense.
Yes. And with us going out and retrofit stuff.
Brand new building.
Right.
And Commissioner, that goes along with our discussions and even previous talking leading up to SPOS, is that need for project management for the subject matter experts in some of these bigger projects, something like this. Certainly the facilities that we're going to, the 2 facilities that we're going to build, but some of the other projects, we really need to have those subject matter expert project managers on site to help us with these things so we can avoid problems like this.
And the one thing with the buildings, can we make sure the roofs work?
No flat roofs.
I just, when I first got on here, the issues we had out at Public Safety Building,
Yes, sir.
just to me didn't make sense either. So, commissioners, motion.
Hang on just a second.
Mr.
Chairman.
Hold on a minute. You have one other thing.
We only been able to obtain one bid for the stainless steel. Griffiths, Steel, Coastal Ally, and Dominies are all too expensive, so we're going to have to try and find a couple more bids.
I thought Versafide,
They are the lowest, and they're the only bid we got, so we know they'll at least be the lowest for us to pay for. If everybody else comes in higher, anybody comes in lower, then of course it'll cost us less money.
So did we do, I had this discussion, I think, with Jason and others about the contracting requirements for bidding to make sure that we had a diverse group of contractors, being able to reach out to minority contractors. Because I just know that some of the guys that I know that do great work could beat some of these prices. It's just ridiculous if we're just beholden to the same small group of folk.
I mean, I know that we have done a couple of community workshops to encourage local contractors to come out, and we could show them the bid process. We have lessened the requirements needed for bid bonds, performance bonds, so that it's more affordable for small projects and small business owners. I would encourage any citizen or commissioner that knows of a contractor, a local contractor that would be interested in doing these projects to notify resident in our procurement department, and we will reach out to them. We just need the names of these contractors that are interested. So you know, we put the requests out there, and we ask people to turn in, you know, quotes for these items, but if we have a list when we're calling around getting quotes, we'll definitely be able to call extra people.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Just need to know who they are.
How are they gonna put the stainless on the wall? Liquid nail?
They have, well, probably something similar. They claim that they have some type of adhesive that they'll use. And then instead of like a J channel, you got an H channel that both partitions will
They'll have
snap
to
into.
seal that or
It'll
water will get behind it.
Yes, sir.
And
Those will all
along
be
the floor,
vertical.
and along the floor too.
Yes.
But anyway, go ahead, Walter.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend the Board of Commissioners approve the allocation in the amount of $34,008.36 for the addition of automatic watering devices for the kennels, and to add stainless steel to the walls of the 2 intake kennels with funding provided by the Capital Projects Fund, capital allocation at large post 2.
Second.
Item 13 has been motioned and properly second. All in favor, raise your right hand. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Item 14, recommend the Board of Commissioners approve the attached terms and conditions and issue a purchase order to Swim Smart Technology LLC in the amount of $32,200 for beach warning equipment. I need to know more about that. And on-site installation assistance and training with funding to be provided by the at-large Post 1 capital allocation. And approve the use of up to $7,800 of at-large Post 1 capital allocation to cover costs associated with the use of third-party vendors to install the system and connect power. Ms. Gaines.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. For the past couple of months, staff in various departments have had meetings with County Manager Mr. Fallon, several Board of Commission members to just talk about things that we could do as a county to improve and enhance the beach and water safety and experience for our visitors and our residents. And one of the ideas that was brought forward was relatively new technology that a company up in Michigan, I believe, has come up with, and it's a solar-powered beach warning system. That's it's a sign system and a light system, and I have some pictures here of what it looks like on the beach somewhere up in the Great Lakes area. And so we had an on-site visit from the vendor back in I think it was the week of Thanksgiving, and he came out and met with us at Coast Guard Park, Massengale Park, and Gould's Inlet. Those are our three high-traffic public beach access areas, to look at the possibility and what his thoughts would be on installing this kind of a system at those three major areas. And we asked him to give us a proposal. So he provided that proposal to us and does recommend that this system would be something good to put at those locations. He provided a proposal, I think it's in your packet, and we've looked at the terms and conditions. We'll thoroughly vetted the terms and conditions and worked with the vendor on that and got that straight. And the company did provide a sole source letter because it is relatively new technology. So, what we're looking at is that something like this would be most likely put on at the beach entrances that would not be actually on the beach, because we would have to involve DNR for permitting purposes. So this would, if you think about where Coast Guard Park is and the gated area where the boats are and the lifeguard storage areas are, you would put it somewhere where the existing signage is kind of near the trash receptacle area that Dave Austin's team has built. At Massengale, it would be similar. It would be there kind of right at the edge of the parking lot. So we wouldn't be going out onto the beach with this system. At Gould's, it would be before you get to the walkway going out there as well. And so the systems would be positioned there. They would be connected to the National Weather Service in Jacksonville with to be able to change colors, your red, green, or yellow, depending on what the currents were doing at any given time. And so the colors would change based on the changes that they're recording at their
So this measures the situation with the current.
with the currents, yes, sir. And you know how we use the beach warning flagpole system at the beach, where we have a 30-something foot flagpole at Coast Guard in Massengale, and we're manually hoisting the red, yellow, green, purple flags on any given day at any given time. Historically, we've used that when lifeguards were on duty. And so, people in the morning when they're walking their dogs on a summer morning at 9 o'clock would complain and say, I don't see the flags up. Well, they weren't up because that's not when lifeguards were on duty. So earlier this fall or August, we started a conversation with Chief Vinny in the fire department. And so now when the guards are on duty, they will manage those warning signs, the flags, and then the fire department will do this, is doing this when the guards are not on duty. So we're utilizing that system. So this would be more of a permanent lighted system that doesn't have to be manned. It can be manually overridden if there's some situation that we need to change the lights to a certain color. Maybe the National Weather Service is looking at something that's a little stronger than what we're really experiencing. So instead of it being maybe red, we would change it to yellow if it was something like that. If our fire rescue or our beach lifeguards felt like the currents were not as predicted. But I feel like it's the technology tied into the Weather Service is going to make this a useful tool. It can be double-sided so that you see it coming or going. The areas we're talking about, having them installed, we're pretty flexible on that. We could move them to other areas. If things, if there's some changes that happen at the Coast Guard Park and we need to relocate it to another area because of, some
So how many of these?
we're looking at 3, 1 at each location as a test site. And the cost for the 3, and their solar panel, they could be connected to a building, so eventually they could be connected to, another structure at say, Coast Guard Park. But initially, we would propose that they be freestanding. We've talked to Dave Austin and his team. They could possibly do some of the mounting, may be able to help us with some of the electrical connectivity and that sort of thing. But the $32,200 is for the actual equipment and the on-site technical assistance with the install. The remaining potential $7,800 would be for materials to create the setup for the mount, build the mount, maybe contract it out if Public Works, for example, did not have enough time or staff resources to be able to do that. So not 100% sure we would need to spend that extra 78 or all of that.
So this is really about $40,000?
Yes, sir, the $40,000. Mhm. And then this technology, they're constantly working on it, and they're making advancements to it, and they've got some more things planned in the future that what we purchase now could be enhanced and could build to other things as we look towards the development of the life-saving tower and things like
They
that.
are two-sided.
Yes, sir, they're supposed to be two-sided.
And
so.
Lisa, this does not include the warning system that goes inlet for tide change and that kind of thing that Jason had worked on. I had suggested that, and I've seen some of the equipment, like the lights, the warning, the blast that would come at high tide, or the changing of the tide when you need to get off.
This is not that system, no, sir. This
Okay.
doesn't include that. It does not have a sound system to it. I think it could be an enhancement later, perhaps, but that's not what this system is. This is somebody who's going to the beach and then sees whether it's red, green, or yellow, and that's pretty standard. You know then and there if it's red, shouldn't go swimming. Probably not a good idea to go swimming. So the group thought this was interesting technology, and so we were lucky to try to find a funding source to try to get it. And if we order it, if we can get moving on this, if you guys approve it, then it's very likely that the equipment should be here before and be installed before summer of 2023. There's a potential 8 to 12 week lead time on the equipment. So we felt like it would best to go ahead and try to push this forward now if this is something that y'all agree with doing.
So what you requested, is that not needed also?
It is needed. Now, if the technology has advanced enough and we've found a source that can provide that, it's an alarm system out there where people get stranded out when the changing of the tide. It goes out so fast that they get caught in those rip currents trying to come back across from the island out there. So that's one of the areas that we're trying to find some way by which to notify folks when it's, give them ample time to get off that.
What do we
past
do
those
now
sandbars.
around that?
Nothing, no, sir.
There's nothing.
No, sir.
So this would be one option. This isn't the first step. Then there's other options for some of the things like the chairman mentioned, and maybe some other technologies that we could use down the road, or even other equipment that potentially could be stored out there.
Yeah, I would suggest that we try to address that as well as quickly as possible. I mean, since I've been here about different situations, people drowning and getting caught. So,
This is what we looked at that meeting, right?
Yes, sir.
all right.
All right, Mr. Chairman, in the meantime, I recommend the Board of Commissioners approve the tax terms and conditions and issue a purchase order to Swim Smart Technology LLC in the amount of $32,200 for beach warning equipment and on-site installation assistance and training. The funds to be provided by the at-large Post 1 capital allocation, and approve the use of up to $7,800 of at-large Post 1 capital allocation to cover costs associated with the use of third-party vendors to install the system and connect power.
Second.
It's been properly motioned and seconded that we approve item 14 as presented. All in favor, raise your right hand.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
I don't see anything that shouldn't be on consent. You guys?
I got nothing to pull.
Okay. All right. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chairman, motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor for adjournment? All right. Thank you.